Time for you to learn about Elaine Mingus. We're going to do it in rapid fire style. She's going to tell us exactly what we want to hear within a minute. Boom, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, you're the queen of pageantry. Tell us a little bit about this new enterprise you're doing as far as a pageantrypreneur.
Pageantpreneur. Yeah. So I am the former United States of America's Mrs. Texas 2025. And I have started a pageant business, but not in the pageant coaching. I don't teach people how to walk or how to interview. I teach women how to monetize pageantry because the pageant journey is not cheap. So I help them get sponsors. I help them utilize social media effectively so they can share their story, so they can create greater impact without maxing out their credit cards.
And what about after what about during the reign? Are you going to be helping them during their reign?
Yeah, so I am currently in a contract with 4 different queens that are in a certain system, and I have monthly coaching calls that I do with them, where
Oh.
we bring on the sponsors for the system, that like the sponsors that sponsored the system, and we kind of talk to the sponsor so that they can get to know the sponsor, so they can know how to appropriately promote the person who is helping them along their pageant journey. But then I'm also giving them the tools. I help audit their Instagram. I share where I think they're doing well, but then where else they could be kind of honing in and giving them really easy techniques, because I'm a mom of 7 and I absolutely don't have tons of time. So if it's not easy, I don't do it is my motto. And so I make sure that they know how to do it effectively in the shortest amount of time possible.
Well, I'm going to assume you're doing a lot of social media. So, how what's your expertise in social media?
So I have about 25 years in digital communications. I was pre-social media. I finally
Mhm.
did get a MySpace, and where we were putting our HTML code or whatever in
Oh.
MySpace. I came in very early on and just learned with the rest of everybody. And so, but I was able to take some of the skills I already had, my copywriting skills as a journalism major, and then also, I was a graphic designer and a web designer for a long time, so I use all of that. And then as social media came onto this scene in a really strong way with the advent of the iPhone specifically, I think, um, helping people and learning it myself and then helping people do it, because as somebody who's super technical, I know not everybody is. I try to disseminate it in such a way that it's user friendly.
Mm. So I know that you're working on growing your community. What are kind of some of the key elements to growing a community?
So growing a community has many prongs. So you have to make sure that you're setting yourself up as an authority. A lot of times you do that through writing an ebook or a book. It immediately launches you to the top of your game because you're the one that wrote a book, and people like that. And so doing that, and then building in funnels and drip campaigns, and reminding, because it doesn't matter if you're the best, if you're not the loudest,
Yeah.
people are going to forget, because it's a very saturated market out there, and you just have to be top of mind all the time, casting a wide net.
Mm. Yeah. When you being an author, you're loud in that you have what, like 9 books? How many books do you have out there?
I have, I don't know, it's like 12, but some of them are homeschool because I homeschooled for 15 years. So some of them are homeschool books. They're books, but they're more like, a couple pages here and there to help children learn how to read. They're companion books to a curriculum that I use. So, but yeah, a couple books out there, and definitely have been, just busy continuing right now of writing a book for the pageantpreneur community called Pageant CEO.
Oh, that's a good idea. All right. So
I
real
like it.
quick, tell us a little bit about that's really smart. Tell us a little bit about being an author and how it's helped you in the past.
So being an author just immediately gives you credibility, because
Mm.
everybody says they want to write a book, but they don't. But as soon as you do, they're like, "Oh, you're really it." I mean, and it's the same reason I got into pageantry. You put on a crown and a sash, and people start paying attention. And so, that process has been, refining what you believe, what you know, all the things and your skills. And as somebody who wrote a book, I also design my own covers. I, set all
Huh.
the type, it's not called typesetting anymore. I formatted the book, and did all that. And so that's the skills that are solid, hard skills that I can teach other people going forward. And I've been on book launch communities for best-selling authors. I've been on the
Mhm.
news talking about some of those things. So I have all the, writing a book is when you really do it in a multimedia type of way is really helps you get out there, gain authority, gain traction, and then just gives you some really like, skills that you can use forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it blows me away that, obviously I authored a book, Modern Millions AI, and what the incredible thing to me is it's if you really think about it, for most, sometimes they call them author entrepreneurs, it just leads to a service or a product. That's ultimately what it is. But what I've found is it does give you a lot of credibility. And really, if you really think about it, all it is marketing. Like this is a marketing piece. And people think,
Yeah,
wow, that guy spent a lot of time writing that book. But ultimately, for some, again, entrepreneurs, it's just a it's just marketing and people keep it on their bookshelf. So they're like keeping marketing pieces on their bookshelf.
yeah,
But I think it's kind of cool. At the same time, you're right. It does provide validity on whatever you're talking about on you as an author. Anyway, okay, that's a side note. All right. Um, so 7 kids, lots of kids. What's been the biggest challenge for you to be able to balance being a mom of 7, have a husband, and also run a business, et cetera, et cetera?
yeah. It is hard. I think balance
Mm,
is something you are going to fumble and then master over and over and over again. And when you add a new piece into your life, you're going to have to find a new equilibrium. And so just making sure that you put the first things first. And I'm a strong believer, so putting God first, family second, and then everything else falls into line. So when you put the big rocks, so you heard about the thing, the jar is when you put the sand first and then you put the little rocks and then you try to put in the big rocks, it doesn't fit. But when you put the big rocks first and then the pebbles and then the sand, everything seems to fit. So just putting
mm,
things in the right order and then constantly reassessing that order.
mm. So what's next for Elaine Mingus?
Well, just like we talked about every night, try to take over the world. It's really sorry, my Pinky and the Brain reference there. You kind of aged myself. Okay,
Yeah.
but yes, I would love to continue in the pageant journey. I would love to seek not. I had a state title. I would love to seek a national title and an international title. And then continuing on promoting my pageantpreneur community, continue coaching girls to share their story effectively because I believe stories change the world. And so I'll just keep on plodding down
Mm,
that in whatever way it goes to. A good friend of mine said, your purpose never changes, but your strategy will. And so whatever
mm.
my purpose is to share my story, bring light to the darkness and set the captives free. So whatever way I can do that, and if I can give people practical tools on how to do that with me, I'm game.
That really is your goal. Like, this is a little bit of an aside. You really wanna be in the pageantpreneur world. I mean, in the pageantry world, that's your deal, huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think pageantry is a beautiful intersection of the modern woman. You have entrepreneurs, you have women that are working out and taking care of their body, they're moms, they're college students. I mean, there is I mean, if you look at the pageant world and the people that have won pageants, like you're not talking about just some pretty little girl who's sitting at home like, putting on makeup and working out all the time. Like you're talking about people that are, in or MIT that are lawyers that are, that they're
Mhm.
doing amazing things. I mean, there's a lot of people that are in the military that are also pursuing pageantry. So you're not it's it's just a woman that is able to balance every single part of life. Kind of like Barbie. Like we talked about Barbie the other day, just kind of like, Barbie got to be President Barbie and Space Barbie and Pageant Girl I think is very similar as very similar lifestyle. So pursuing that allows me to capitalize on somebody who is very, very diligent with their time, their efforts, and they mean business when they're trying to seek change.
I getcha. So, again, a little off topic. So, I don't know the logical steps for a pageant woman. So, like, you're a title holder for the state. Now,
Mhm,
what do you have to do to be a title holder or whatever for the nation and international? I don't know how that works.
mhm. So once you win a state, so there's a local title. Sometimes you win the local title, sometimes you're appointed a local title, and then you go for the state title, and then once you win the state title, you can go on to the national and uh, go for that. And so I went up for my national title. I didn't make that national title, but you can go in at the, again, I can come in to try again on the national level since, as a state title holder. And then, going to international. So if you win the national, then you go to international. But the pageant world is there's a lot of different pageant systems. It's not just one. So they all kind of operate differently. And so yeah, I mean, you just sign up. I mean, it's literally one of the best business decisions I think a woman can make for herself because it is something to look forward to. It gives us something fun to kind of look forward to. It all culminates with a beautiful pageant weekend where you're surrounded by girls and you get to wear pretty dresses and you get your hair and makeup done. But the journey to the pageant is really where the amazing like stuff
Got it.
happens because
Yeah.
it's a place where you self-reflect constantly and you learn who you are as a person and you continue to be able to iterate that to people in a very like concise way.
I understand. Wow, this is interesting. I never knew any of that stuff about pageantry, but wow, this is always fun hanging out with Elaine. Always learning something here and there. It's unbelievable. Um,
But it's been fun. Thank you so much for having me.
good times. Thanks, everybody.